From his insane wrestling, which might be too much for Edwards to handle, to his humble attitude, which should stop him from getting KO'd for a second time, here's why Kamaru Usman is going to destroy Leon Edwards. Last year at UFC 278, Jamaican-British welterweight Leon Edwards dethroned the reigning king, Kamaru Usman, in one of the best fights the UFC has ever seen. For the first 24 minutes, Usman was in control, using his wrestling skills to smother his opponent and rack up points. By the 5th round, the only way Edwards could win was via knockout, and as the minutes ticked down, another Usman victory looked all the more inevitable. But then Edwards pulled out the single best kick that the UFC has seen in a long time.
A victory for Leon Edwards.
But that is not the cloth from which he is cut. I mean, that is a dejected...
There it is.
In the 25th minute, he feinted a jab, causing Usman to slip to the outside, and Leon landed an epic head kick, knocking Kamaru out cold and causing the upset of the year. Since this massive upset, a trilogy between the two has been announced at UFC 286 on March 18th to see who the real king of the welterweight division is. And from our predictions, there is only one winner, Kamaru Usman. Why do I think that Usman will get the title back? Well, for starters, Usman has a better physique. Sure, Edwards has a very aesthetic and capable physique, which is perfect for combat sports, but Usman's on a whole other level when it comes to physique and athleticism. This is all down to his strict training regimen and diet.
My diet mainly consists of water, most importantly, at least 4 times a week. I have to get in some eggs, and I'll mix in the spinach in there, some type of fruit at some point later on in the day. Apples, blackberries, blueberries, all of the above. We have to at least mix that in.
The American Nigerian starts his day at 6 a.m., while everyone else catches Z's. Kamaru's warming up the fire hydrant drills and a few functional lifts to warm up before starting his MMA practice. Now, he hasn't revealed the intricacies of his workouts to, stop his enemies from creating strategies to beat him, but he did mention that his workouts prep him for 25 minutes of hard and intense fighting. We imagine he'll kick things off with some pads, shadow boxing, and wrestling drills before moving on to sparring or technical grappling with a partner. He'll also incorporate plenty of cardio into his regimen. Well, everything except runs, because his knees just aren't built for that. Usman also sticks to a very strict diet to fuel him for his intense workouts. He'll start his day with eggs, spinach, peppers, avocado, and wheat toast. And before fighting, he'll consume pasta with red sauce to carb up for a tough fight. So both his training regimen and diet are world class. These are going to prep him for his upcoming battle with Leon, and to help him be the stronger, faster, and better conditioned fighter, enabling him to bully his rival in the octagon and get that crown back.
Tried to make that fight several times. They tried to make that fight, but he kept backing out. The only reason this man took the fight is because it was on 6 days' notice, and he had a built-in excuse.
On top of this conditioning advantage, it's also clear that Usman has several key tactical advantages. For starters, Usman's levels above Edwards when it comes to wrestling. In fact, he's made a career off of his wrestling skills, only recently incorporating striking and stand-up into his game. Edwards, on the other hand, is a born striker and will try to stay off the ground at all costs. The sheer difference in wrestling skill was evident in the second fight. Sure, Edwards was able to resist the takedowns in the first couple of rounds, but soon enough, Usman was taking down Edwards at will, using his size and skill advantage to secure ground control and suffocate Edwards. If he's able to keep on top of his wrestling game in the next fight, there's not much Edwards can do, which will lead Usman to either a points or submission victory.
Edwards registered a complaint there about his glove being held.
Usman is almost off the body completely of Edwards, but now Edwards can just start to punch.
Another thing going in the Nigerian's favor in the run-up to this fight is his lack of ego. It's no secret that before his loss to Leon, Usman knew he was the top dog. He was extremely arrogant, gassed up, and failed to see Leon as tough competition. This arrogance led Usman to become overconfident and disrespect the Jamaican's striking, which eventually led to his unbelievable knockout defeat. But now with this loss weighing over his head, Usman's ego has dropped significantly. In a recent interview, Usman said, "I wanted to throw with conviction, like I did with Masvidal, and get him out of there." This interview highlights how Usman knows that his ego got in the way of the fight. He wanted that highlight reel knockout to shock the world. He wasn't interested in getting that win. He had to knock out the world-class striker. And where did that get him? Unconscious, on the floor. After this statement, Usman opened up on the loss, saying, "I was maybe disappointed that I lost, but I wasn't bummed like the first loss I had in my career. That one f***ed with me. It was the uncertainty of the future, and also because there was nothing I could do. I couldn't defend myself because I didn't have the knowledge." These statements prove that Usman is ready to drop his ego and stick to his bread and butter to beat his rival. So what do other people think of the trilogy between the two? Well, Dana White had a lot to say about the upcoming bout. He thinks that it's going to be one of the best UFC events for the UK and will be one of the most anticipated fights of the year. However, he hasn't said anything about who he thinks will win, so hopefully we'll hear the big man's opinion soon enough. I might not know what White thinks, but one man who agrees with me that Kamaru's going to mop the floor with Leon is Eric Anders. Anders recently tweeted that Usman will be victorious at UFC 286, saying he was beating him for 24 minutes. Jack Della Maddalena, on the other hand, believes that Usman will lose to Edwards again, suggesting that Edwards is actually the more well-rounded fighter and will put another knockout to shock the world. Well, what about Leon himself? Since his victory, Edwards has been training hard to defend his belt and settle the rivalry once and for all. He stated that he's going to be in even better shape than before, arguing that he'll be stronger, faster, more skilled. He even said that he's got multiple ways to beat his rival, and whether it's by decision, knockout, or submission, he'll find a way to beat Usman. Edwards has already stayed humble in victory and is under no illusion that the trilogy will be an easy fight.
Leon Edwards, very good hands.
And he's looking for that front kick straight up the middle. Immediate clinch by Usman. Let's see what kind of takedown defense Edwards has here.
He opened up in a recent interview with The Mirror, stating, "I can see it being a totally different fight from the second fight. It's also about how he can come back after the knockout. I can see myself getting my hand raised again. I'm not going out there to chase the headshot and get another spectacular finish. It's just about getting the win." So both of these fighters are definitely dialed in and ready to get it on.
I told you I could do it. I told you. Pound for pound what? Pound for pound what? There is no pound for pound. The belt belongs to nobody. That's it.
But there's just too many advantages on Kamaru's side for Edwards to get this victory in the bag. As I said before, he's stronger, faster, and way more experienced, and he wants it more than anything. And all credit to Edwards, who pulled that win out of the bag, but it was a 1 in a million kick, and one which Usman can prepare for. The simple fact is that for the 24 out of 25 minutes, Usman fought perfectly. To get that belt back, all he has to do is keep up the pressure, and Edwards isn't going to be able to do a thing. So from his superior wrestling to his new humble attitude, that's why Kamaru Usman's going to destroy Leon Edwards at UFC 286.